Hi everybody. Welcome to this fascia release session. This is going to be for the legs, the hips, and the lower back. So for today's practice, you're going to need your double ball in the sock, a ball, a strap if you have one handy. If not, it's not essential, but it would be good to have one, and a yoga block. Okay, so once you have all of that in place, you also might want to have a blanket for underneath your head. We're going to start by standing up, and I would like you to just stand up and take a little bit of a walk around your space. So just a little walk to notice how you're feeling, how your legs feel, the muscles in the legs. Notice how you feel in your hips, in your lower back. Notice if there's any tension, if the legs feel tight or loose. I'm just making note of that. So I always like to do a little comparison before and after to feel the effect of the fascia release. And then from there, you'll come down to sit and stretch the legs out in front of you. So legs stretched out. Take your hands behind for just a moment, and from there, lift the chest up, press the heels forward, press your thighs down, press the backs of your knees down to the ground. Keep a nice long spine, bring your hands in front of you, and begin to hinge forward from your hip crease. As you do this, I'd like you to notice the back of your legs and how the legs feel. You can stay here, or you can take hold of your strap if you have one, and if you'd like. Take the strap around underneath your toes, and then pulling on the strap, letting yourself hinge forward, it'll allow you to come a little bit deeper in your forward fold. And then just notice here again, how you feel in the back of the legs, back of the thighs, the calf muscles. Notice the distance from the back of the knees to the ground. Also noticing how far forward you come. And then you'll come up from there, move your strap aside. Taking the ball and bringing the balls underneath your right ankle. So right underneath the right ankle, I'm going to take my left leg, I'm going to cross it over the right. And then I'm simply going to point and flex my right foot. So pointing and flexing. I might turn it in and out a little bit. And I'm using my left leg to press down into the right. So now I'm beginning to release the fascia on the back of that right leg. From here, I may slide myself forward a little bit, and I'll continue. So I'm working my way all the way up towards the back of the knee. So I'm pointing and I'm flexing and I'm turning. If it's too much pressure to have your leg pressing down, you can bring your left foot to the floor and do it this way. So a little bit deeper to have the leg crossed, you decide. And then sliding forward a little bit more again and pointing and flexing, turning the foot in and out. You may notice that there's some really tender spots as you go. Important part of this fascia release practice is to breathe. So not forgetting to breathe as you continue to work your way forward, pointing, flexing, foot turning in, foot turning out, pressing down. If there's a place that you find that's very potent and you'd like to remain there a while longer, then go ahead and do that. Careful not to go into the space behind your knees. So you want to come right up towards it, but not into it. So you never want to roll on the joints of the body. So again, I'm pointing, flexing, turning in and out. From here, I'm going to place my left foot onto the ground. I'm going to lift my hips and just slide a little bit forward and back. If this is too much on your shoulders, you could just continue with what we were doing before. And then slide back until the ball is back underneath your ankle. Moving the ball aside, taking hold now of your block. So if you'll notice, I'm placing the block, I'm now going to work up the hamstrings. So I'm working up the back of the thigh. I'll place the block on an angle so it's tilted so that when I'm bringing my leg down into it, it's coming into the edge of the block, so I have something to press into. Here I have to hold the block so it doesn't flatten out. And then from there, again, now I'm going to lift and lower the leg. So I'm bending and straightening the knee. And then I'll turn my leg in and out. So the idea here is to put pressure into the edge of the block, into the block, and in this way you're helping to release the fascia. And in the same way we did with the lower leg, we're going to work up the back of the thigh. So after I finish that spot, I'm going to slide the block up a little bit more, and I'll go again. Bending and straightening, turning the foot in and out, breathing, noticing any sensations here in the back of the thigh. Sometimes they're quite strong, and that's okay. As I continue to work up the thigh, there comes a point where there's not enough space and the block will be flat. And then from there you could bring your hands behind if you'd like, and always I'm thinking about pressing my thigh down into the block and pressing it forward, so I'm still kind of getting into the edge of the block. And any way that you move around is fine. You just want to keep going, that pressure moving into the back of the leg. And just as the knee joint, when we get up towards the hip joint, we want to go all the way up to it, but not on it. So you don't want to be in the hip joint. So again, you're just turning in and out, straightening, bending the knee, pressing forward with the back of the thigh, pressing into the edge of the block, staying in any spot that feels like it's asking for a little bit more attention. As I move a little closer to the hip, the sensation gets a little bit more intense. Maybe not for you, maybe on one side and not the other. And then from there, I'm going to move the block aside, and I'm going to take the ball now and slide it right underneath my right buttock. So I'm coming to sit up on the ball with my right buttock, and I'll bend my left knee, and I'm just going to roll it all around. I might go onto the back of the thigh a little bit, come back up. I might go all the way up towards the back of the waistline. And I might turn a little bit and get onto the side of my hip. So that's quite a potent spot. So you might want to work in there a little. You could do these for as long as you'd like. You can always pause the video so that you could stay longer if there's a spot in the body that you really feel is calling for more attention. And then from there, let the ball come to the back of the waistline. So come down. So you might come down onto your elbows, or you might lie all the way down if that feels good to you. So either way, stay up on your elbows or come all the way down. And here I'm right above my waistline, and I'm more to the right side than I am towards the spine. And I'm just going to slide the ball out and in. So I'm going to go out to the right, back to the left. So if you can't see, where I am is about here. And I'm going in and out this way. Okay? Yeah. So that's getting into the quadratus lumborum. Very, very tight muscle. Just sliding in and out there. And then from there, I'll lift my hips, I'll move the ball aside, and I'll go back to the double ball in the sock. So keeping it the long way, this way, I'm going to take it and lift my hips up again and bring it right underneath the right glutes. So now I'm lying down with my right buttocks right on the ball, and I'm sliding out and in. So So I'm moving out towards the outside of the hip, and I'm moving in towards the sacrum. You might move it out towards the outside of your hip and then drop your knees over to the right. You might really find some juicy spots here. So this is up to you. So wherever you want to go in this exploration is fine. I'm just going to show you here, in case you couldn't see with me laying down. The ball is going this way, and it's right in the buttock, and I'm sliding in and out, like so. Okay? Find a juicy spot there. I know that there's a lot of them. And when you find a spot that's very, very potent to you, take a deep breath in, hold the breath in, and tighten the buttock muscle, really gripping it. Tighten, 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 tighten as much as you can. And then on the exhale, as you release, can you release more into the ball, and maybe you can get a little bit more deeper, a little deeper release in the fascia. And you do that a few times. So you squeeze and tighten, and grip, and then exhale and relax. You could do that in a few spots. You could do that in the one spot that feels the most potent. And if this is too intense for you, you can also substitute, move this away, and you can do the same thing using your spiky ball. And moving in and out that way as we were doing before. And again, here you could tighten the buttocks, and then you can relax. Good. And from here, we're going to move the ball out. Take your knees into your chest, roll to your side, and come back up. I'm going to flip myself around so that you can see. Moving the blanket if I should need it to the other side. Before we continue with the other side, let's just come to sit up again and find your strap if you were using one. So bringing your hands behind, sit up nice and tall, lift up through the top of the head, begin to hinge forward. And then from there, bringing your hands in front of you, either working this way with your hands to the ground if you don't have a strap, or grab your strap. I'd just like you to compare now the right side to the left. And just notice how the right leg feels compared to the left leg. And just notice if you feel like you have a little bit more freedom on that side. Notice if the back of your right knee is closer to the ground than your left. So notice the effect of loosening up the fascia on the right side. And then from there, we'll move that aside. And again, grab the double ball in the sock. And I'm placing it now underneath the left ankle. Bring my hands back to support me. And I'll point and flex here. Turn the foot in and out. Breathing, conscious breathing. Maybe crossing right ankle over the left ankle to add a little bit more pressure. And sliding forward a little bit. Working my way up the back of the calf now, working up towards the back of the knee, but I will not be on the back of the knee. Putting as much pressure as feels appropriate for you. And just exploring and breathing and feeling into your body. So the fascia is a webbing of connective tissue that begins at the top of the head and goes all the way down to your feet, and it's connected. So as we know, every part of the body is connected to every other part of the body. So when we try and stretch muscles or we're feeling a little tightness, having the fascia be tight really contributes to the tension in the body, the physical tension in the body, the tightness in the muscles, as well as having an effect on the emotions. So we hold a lot of emotions too in the fascia. So this can also help to release some emotions that you've been holding on to. So it's very powerful work. Continuing to work up towards the back of the knee, pointing, flexing, turning in and out. You might even close your eyes as you're doing this to bring your attention more into the body so that you could feel the body more fully from the inside out. coming all the way up until you're underneath, but not on the back of the knee. And then when I've come as high up the back of the calf as I can, I'll take the right foot and bring it onto the ground, and maybe lift the hips up and slide a little forward and back. If that's too much for the shoulders, I'll just come down and work my way back down the same way I work my way up the calf. And then slide yourself all the way back until the ball is underneath your ankle. And move the ball aside. Take hold of your block. And again, the block is going to be angled, as you can see here. Back of my thigh is going into the edge of the block. I'm holding onto the block. I'm sitting up nice and tall. And I'm going to straighten and bend the knee. Pressing down into the block, breathing, maybe closing my eyes. Turn the leg in and out. Keep pressing down. So all the while you're pushing down into it. So this is what's helping that fascia, that connective tissue, to relax, to soften, and to lengthen. It makes it much easier then to strengthen and stretch the muscles. And continue to work your way up the back of the thigh. Straighten and bend. Turn the foot in and out, leg in and out. Noticing what you feel. And coming up more and more. Working your way up towards that left hip joint. So this is wonderful work to do right now as we're spending so much time sitting and on our devices that all of these muscles in the back of the body tend to really tighten up. They get overstretched. They're long, but they're tight. So this helps them to relax. Once you get closer to the hip joint, you'll bring the block down. So it's resting on the ground, and I'm pressing my leg and my thigh forward and down into the block as I straighten and bend. Turn the leg in and out. Feeling all of the sensations here. Getting as close to that hip joint as you can without being on it. Keep pressing down and forward. From here, you'll move the block aside and take hold of your spiky ball and bring it right underneath the left buttock. So I can bend my right knee here, and I'll just begin to roll. So I'm rolling forward and back, maybe side to side. Maybe moving more towards the outside of my hip. I could even bring my back arm in front, that I can get into those tender spots. So I really suggest that you spend some time here. As you can feel, there's a lot going on here. So even after we've completed the video, you can come back and just play. So there's no right way, wrong way to do this, as long as you're avoiding the joints. With the harder surfaces, fine to go into your joints when you're on a softer ball. And then coming back again and sliding the ball up so that it's kind of behind the back of your waist. Come onto your elbows. Or maybe coming all the way down to the ground. This is where you might want a blanket and slide it underneath your head. So here, behind my waist, I'm sliding all the way out towards the side and all the way in towards the spine. So you don't really want to go on the spine, but it's okay to go next to it. Glue sitting up here, quadratus lumborum. These are the muscles that we always hold on to our lower back and go, oh, my back, right? So it holds a lot of tension there. You could stay with this ball, or you could move it aside and take hold of your double ball and your sock. So again, this is going this way, the long way, and I'm going to slide it right underneath my left buttock. So I'm coming to place the buttock right onto those balls, and I feel it right away. As soon as it's there, I'm like, okay, I can feel this now. And the same thing as we were doing, go back to the spiky ball if you need to, and roll out and roll in, and breathe. Find that potent spot. I know there can be many of them, so you can explore many of them, but find the most potent spot. It's that hurts so good kind of feeling. And then take a deep breath in and hold your breath and squeeze the buttocks. So tighten all around the ball. And then on the exhale, when you let go, let yourself really just sink down. So let the ball get deep so it really can release this tension. I like to bring it out towards the outside of my hip. And then sometimes I'll just drop my knees over to the left and rock on the spot. So you might try that as a technique. Taking a few more breaths here. Good, and then coming back to the center. And lifting your hips and moving the ball aside. Hugging the knees in towards the chest. And rocking a little bit from side to side. You might take a happy baby here, let the hips open. So now that we've loosened up the fascia, it's a little bit easier to open up in the hips. And then bringing them back together down to the ground, roll to one side. And come on back up to your seated position. Stretch the legs out in front of you, take the hands behind. And then lift up through the chest. Send your heels forward, take the toes back, and notice if you feel a difference right away here. And from there, if it's possible, you might bring your hands in the front and begin to walk forward, keeping your spine long, your chin tucked. And then taking hold of your strap and bringing it around the ball mounds of your feet. Take a deep breath in and lift and lengthen through the spine, and as you exhale, hinge forward. When you've come as far as you can, close your eyes and breathe. And notice the feeling now in the back of the legs, the back of the knees, the hips. And then you can slowly bring yourself back up. Move the straps aside. Move your legs to one side. And bring yourself up to stand. And from this standing position, take another walk around now. And just notice if you feel like you have a little bit more freedom. If the hips might feel a little bit looser, and notice how the legs feel. I hope that was helpful, and I thank you for being here. And we will continue with more videos for different parts of the body. So until next time, namaste. See you again soon.